Scott Daly got absolutely wrecked yesterday. The game-winning field goal for what would have been the game-winning field goal for the Bears. Let's take a look at this. So, end of the game, obviously a tough scene here. So we'll go back to the beginning. You can see that that long snapper, Scott, actually got blown up by three guys there?
Yeah, more than he should be trying to block by himself. That is for sure. There is just look, you got 75s down, long snappers down. There are the entire right side of the Bears line is either on their butts or in the process of landing on their butts at this moment.
That's not a great picture for Chicago's field goal team. I'll be honest. That's a tough scene right there.
Well, so the Bears are actually filing a complaint with the NFL that the Packers committed a penalty on the game. Is there? Can you speak to that? Like, what's going on here?
So back it up a little bit. Let me see. Let's try to. Okay, so the rule in back it all the way up where they're lined up. Oh, gotcha. So it's hard to tell from the angle of this play. So there's two rules when it comes to center a long snapper play on field goal. So you cannot be lined up if you're in the A gaps. You cannot be any part of your body cannot be lined up over top of his shoulders and in. Mm-hmm. So you have to be completely out of his shoulder box.
Meaning the
long snapper. And so this guy on the right side here, he looks to me like he's probably outside of it, but it could go either way. I'm sure the referee kind of told him. They do a really good job of telling. They don't actually have a mic in this situation here, so they usually tell the mic linebacker to make sure his guys are in the right spot, and if they need to get wider, he'll tell them, hey, move 93 out or whatever. So that's like the alignment rule. And then when it comes to engaging, you're not allowed to have forcible contact to the head or neck of the long snapper. And this is where we've seen a little bit of a gray area because these D linemen are really good at this stuff, and they do a good job of hitting the shoulder first and then driving into the neck or into the head. And I've had a couple of those against me, particularly in Dallas, that I can remember off the top of my head, where it's a 50-50 call. Like the referee, they obviously have a really good sight line. They're both looking right at the play. So the guy on the left is the one that makes the call. That's his job to make sure that nobody hits the long snapper and everybody's lined up outside the shoulder box. But so if you run it here, if we just move it a little bit forward, the one thing I can say about Scott, if you look right here, obviously his legs are fully locked out. He's basically standing straight up while being bent over at the same exact time. But the one thing I notice in having, as I play the position here, the biggest thing you can't do on field goal is have a narrow base, because what it does is it shrinks the surface area that you take up in those gaps, and it adds more stress to both of your guards, and it also makes you an easy target to move because you have no base. You're in this particular case is basically his weight. If I had to imagine, his weight is on his toes. He's got nothing to stop. If they make contact with his shoulders, he's going to go flying, and ultimately that's what happens here. You would love to tell him, keep your ass down, widen your base out. Try not to move your feet when you're snapping a field goal because you want to have that sturdy base. And a lot of guys do this where they snap just like they do on punt, and they kind of move their feet a little bit, and it creates this small gap here. And he's basically a dummy at this point because there's nothing he can do. There's those two guys combined, if I had to guess, they're probably close to 700 pounds of mass. Somewhere between 650 and 700 pounds of mass hitting him. You have nothing to stop them. You're literally an inanimate object just sitting there in the way. And these guys are able to get underneath you and basically just flip you over like you're a damn chair or something. And that's what happens here. Puts a lot of stress on the guard. You can see 76, I think, on the right here. I would say he's too high, and his left foot is not back far enough to give him that wide base so that he can brace for contact and not fall backwards. But a lot of that comes from being too high.
So are you saying where, like, you see 79 right on the left, how his inside foot is much further back? That's where you think he needs to be. So from this screenshot right here, obviously from where we're watching, the Packers are rushing from the right, they're left.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything besides, his foot needs to be back that you're like, this is a bad situation for them to be in? Or do you think it's just the combined, the long snappers too skinny in this position, and the right guard is kind of not getting back far enough to kind of help make up for that?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest things I see is obviously with the long snapper, all four of the linemen, interior linemen with the 70, 79, 76, and 58, or whatever number that guy is, they all, to me, they look too high. 70 and 79 have good bases. 58 looks like his weight is – he's basically already falling back. His weight is way too far on his heels. So as soon as they initiate contact with him, again, he's not going to have anything to stop him from going backwards, and he ultimately flies back here. Yeah. But obviously the biggest takeaway is going to be 46 and 75. They don't do a very good job of getting low and having a base that allows them to take and absorb that contact without getting completely annihilated and blown back. Because these guys, these Green Bay guys, like usually if you get hit like that, you can kind of go down and you're low enough to where they're coming with you. Like they're having to get low. They're going to lose their footing. They're not going to be able to get up. But because they're so high, it helps the Green Bay guys stay vertical, and it allows them to get not only knockback, but also height so that they can get their hands up and make a play on the ball. And it's a tough – I mean, let's be honest, dude. You got a 240-pound long snapper against 3 or 4 300-pound defensive linemen. It's a really difficult task for the long snapper, and
not a great matchup.
Yeah,
no, it's definitely a mismatch, and that is the weakness in all field goal protections. I think one of the reasons that Baltimore likes me so much, and I think part of it is one of the key things is I'm probably the heaviest long snapper in the NFL. I weigh about 262 pounds, give or take. I'm not the tallest guy by any means, but I'm big enough to where don't get me wrong, I'll get my ass blown up. Like Cam Hayward didn't blow me up because he hit me like in the chest and I went flying back. Like he kind of went low and he kind of hit me in the knee, like right above my kneecap. And it almost, and if you want to see the film, it doesn't look super good on the film. I kind of hyperextend my knee a little bit and then it just causes me to fall down. But he was so low that he's not a threat to blocking the field goal anyway. And we've had this happen to us against Cleveland in 22, where we're high, they're above us, and then we can't do anything to help them, and we just boost them in the air like that. So it's a tough play. It's a very physical play. When those guys decide to turn up, man, there's only so much that we can do on the inside. And my heart breaks for Scott. He's battled a lot of adversity over his career, and that's an unfortunate play. I mean, I didn't see the trajectory of the kick, but maybe you could say the kick needed to be higher. But at the same time, the line has a job to do. And to me, the Bears just had a total failure by the left guard to the right wing over there. So, again, good. I was just going to say good play by the Packers there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry about it was a great play by the Packers. And,
great play by them. Game changing play.
Unbelievable.
Game winning play.
Game winning play, yeah.